Victor Wembanyama is officially out for the rest of the season, suffering from deep vein thrombosis, which is basically a blood clot that he's got in his shoulder coming after the All-Star game. But that's not it. There are so many other notable injuries around the NBA, so let's talk about it. Welcome back to another episode of The Post Up. I am your host, DJ Tricey Trice, always here running my mouth about sports right here on YouTube. If it's your first time here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this video so you stay posted on what's new in sports news. Jumping right into today's episode, y'all, DVT, deep vein thrombosis, is one of the top search things on Google right now because people are wondering what the heck is happening with Victor Wembanyama that he has to just immediately be gone for the rest of the season. So I did a little bit of research, and there have been some injuries like this in the NBA that people have recovered from, but this could be a career-ending kind of thing. Do I think it's going to be that for Wemby? No, absolutely not. I think the Spurs have a great medical team. The NBA has invested a lot of money in Wemby being one of the larger next faces of the league. So I think Wemby will be fine, come back next season. I do think it's interesting that this happened right after the All-Star game. There's been so much talk about why stars don't try in the All-Star game, how much effort they're putting towards it, the format, all these different things. And for an injury to come after the All-Star game where Wemby was actually trying and doing his thing out there, I don't know. That can be a little bit controversial. I'm not saying one has to do with the other because, of course, that blood clot, I don't think materialized overnight, but it is interesting getting this news after the All-Star break. After doing some research, some other NBA stars who have had DVT and have come back around to continue their career. Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat had multiple instances where he had blood clots or something wrong with his pulmonary system. He got it taken care of and was able to continue to play and still be dominant. In 2019, Brandon Ingram had DVT and came right back around to continue to play with the Pelicans. As you know, he's now up in Toronto, still playing. Just recently, last year, March 2024, Asar Thompson had DVT and came back the same year, so didn't even need to take a whole year off to make sure that those blood clots didn't return. Usually with DVT, it's the prompt treatment. They need to get you on some kind of blood thinners to get that blood clot out of your system. So we're praying for Wemby, hope for the best. There were a whole bunch of people who had bets out for him to be the defensive player of the year. He was leading the Spurs. It's looking like the Spurs are going to get another lottery pick, which is insane. They got Wemby. That was a huge thing. They moved a lot of pieces down there. They now have De'Aaron Fox, and they might end up in the running for another top pick. I will keep you posted on where that goes, of course, so make sure you stay close to the channel. Let's talk about some other notable NBA injuries that have been persistent so far this season. Other than Wemby's injury, Grant Williams tore his ACL. DeJounte Murray also tore his ACL. Joel Embiid constantly has been suffering from injuries, but this year it is knee and foot that is giving him the most issues. Giannis is out with a calf strain with the Bucks. Damian Lillard with the Bucks has been having hamstring issues. Anthony Davis right after the trade with that abdominal strain. LaMelo Ball with the ankle injury. Deandre Ayton with calf injury. Luka Doncic just got to the Lakers, still having some injuries. LeBron is nursing that foot injury. My question to the internet is, at what point don't we start to believe that there is something happening with the training, with the treatment, with the conditioning of the players? Also, is 82 games too long, right? If we are seeing young players suffer from long-standing injuries like the Ball brothers, just for instance. Also, Luka's young, 25, suffering from injuries that's been lingering since Christmas, can't really bounce back. Even before that, when the Mavs started their season, was starting out a little bit slower. What is happening in the NBA that is causing so many injuries day to day, where players are missing like 5 or 6 games at a time and in and out of IR constantly? I don't know. There needs to be something looked at into the training, maybe the treatment, or shortening the season. So that way players can rest their bodies longer and they're not doing so much of the traveling and going back and forth. So that we can see some of our superstars play. I can't imagine how disheartening it must be to maybe travel for a game or you finally get tickets to a game and then your superstar is in street clothes because of some calf injury or some ankle injury that's just irritating them and they can't play. If the NBA can't get an average of 90% of the players playing the full season, 85 to 90% of the players playing the whole season, maybe they should look at shortening the season. That's just me coming from a WNBA kind of thing. They play in the summer and they have a whole lot more off season. Not to say they're not riddled with injuries because the women have to play overseas as well. I think it's a twofold issue here just in basketball. How can we keep our superstars healthy? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Post Up. Of course, I've been running my mouth about sports. I am your host, DJ Tricey Trice, and I will always be here posted up on my YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next episode of The Post Up.